This man confessed to me before he died in a dentist's office, getting some dental work. And he told me unequivocally, Malik Spellman, Wild Moguls TV. Once again, hello to my dear friends and the listening audience. And hello to you and to all those who are celebrating the gathering this year. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you. Man, let's um let's get into funny, not a crazy story. A mother discovers her son at the body exhibit.
Mm, wow. Yeah, that's interesting, man. In one of our conversations we had about the body parts,
Hmm.
drew a lot of dialogue. And I started reflecting back on a couple of situations in which I was called to cover a story or just to be made aware of a story in which a lady named Diana, I believe her name is, she wanted to find her son. And consequently, her son's daughter, who the son happens to have been missing for quite some time, the daughter wanted to go to a medical exhibit where they exhibit bodies for display for people pursuing medical careers or just curious about the human anatomy. Well, consequently, the lady went to the exhibit in Atlanta and she started noticing something about one of the exhibits or one of the people who was donated allegedly to this particular exhibit of the human anatomy, that they had the similar injuries and similar features as her son. Long story short, the lady started examining this thing and she noticed that some of the injuries from high school that that particular mannequin that was being exhibited had. She also noticed one of the broken fractures of her son that that exhibit had. And then more than anything, the spirituality of her son, who had been missing for quite some time. I believe he had came up missing and his car was found at Grady Hospital or something, which is to me is ironic. But thanks to his daughter, who wanted to go to that exhibit for the purpose of wanting to be a doctor, the mom noticed that when the kid was young, he had a desire and he worked hard to get a little gold tooth in his mouth. I don't know if it's a mortar or mold or whatever they call it right here. And as she examined the exhibit of the body, she noticed that not only did the alleged exhibit have the exact same injuries as her son from high school, but he had the gold tooth. So she started raising this awareness inside the place, like this is my son. I've been looking for him, I think, for 20 something years or something. But the strange thing about it, if I'm not mistaken, they had him in a basketball shooting position because when they show those exhibits, they they put him in like in the positions that they may have wanted, like a yoga position or playing football or walking a dog or something like that. And the lady noticed it, man, and it was kind of frightening, because a lot of our people come up missing and you never know where they at. And it didn't just happen to black people. If you do the research, I got the call, I think it was in 2024, was when I was made aware of it. It was a black dude. Now, as I do more research on it and talk to other family members, it's people of all colors that have missed, that people either donated or came up missing or something like that. And it's strange because the bodies would come from another country. I'm not going to say the name of the country for respect for them because I'm not going to verify. I'm not going to say something unless I can verify it with all respect to them. But how is a body from America that came up missing? And then it's on paper stating that it was donated from this other country to the United States to be seen. So I think it's important that we kind of look after one another in these streets and know that there's some spiritual wickedness in high places. And another example was, and I didn't get a call on this story, Kenta, in regards to trying to cover it, but this young lady was hanging out with these big fashion people. I don't remember exactly where. It may have been in New York. It may have been in Paris somewhere. But they kept her little young body as a mannequin in the office of this individual for a long time. And she just went out there to get a modeling thing, but people literally thought she was a mannequin, but all along it was a human anatomy.
Wow. Now, has there ever been any more cases about these body exhibits?
There's a lot of cases like this that take place, where people are sometimes fooled into, tricked into donating their bodies, their loved ones' remains for scientific purposes or research, and it just doesn't turn out like that. Then a lot of times in our society, since people are so, how can I say it, so readily available and disposable, no pun intended, it's easy for someone with a wicked mind to just say, let me snatch this homeless dude right here, or this wino, or this drug head, and then just sell the body parts or sell the exhibit. So, you got to really do the research on what's going on, man. But for that lady to find her son like that, after searching all them years for her son, and then his daughter is the one that inspired the grandmother to go see the exhibit, and she's standing right underneath it. Could you imagine the eerie feeling that must have been? So I think that was a spiritual thing where he pulled his mother to him, and they gave her a hard time getting the body back, and they pushed her out the place, had security come on her and everything,
But
man.
she eventually reunited with her son and they admitted that it was him, or?
They had no other choice but to admit it. The similarities was just too too obvious.
Mm.
You got a situation in which you're a child. Like me, I could smell my kids' hair and tell my kids, my grandkids. I can just touch their head and know if they mine or not. That's a parental instinct that no one can take from you. That's almost like a mother bear instinct that all human beings have, regardless of gender.
Real talk. Now, when we said, what's a cryonic? Cryonic.
Well, that's the cryonics is almost as similar to the human body being exhibited on display, but in a cryonic state, a lot of people that are placed in a cryonic state, like you ever see when you ride down the freeway, you see them buses, those trucks that say nitro gas or air gas, they're kind of green and white, and it carries like a hydrogen or something, or some sort of frozen liquid gas that freezes the body. And but if you really do the research on what they fill up, they go to places that do what they call cryonics, where they put you in a cryonic state. I've heard of people being placed, because I was going to cover a story on it once before as a reporter, in which some people that have illnesses that may not want to suffer the consequences or live out the duration of their life, they put themselves in a cryonic state, and they want to be woken up when there's a cure for cancer. They want to be thawed out if there's a cure for some muscular dystrophy of some sort of disease that affects the human being. So a lot of people that are wealthy and adventurous, they've already preserved their little tanks. They might be in there 25, 30 years. I think it's going to be, the walk night of the living dead. Zombies going to come out, because it's a real serious thing. I think it's called, the company is Air Gas. It's got a green and white label on the truck.
Yeah, I seen the
And,
air gas.
and it has the nitrogen. Well, they fill up the tanks for the cryonics. So if you want to be placed in a cryonic state, meaning that you want to be frozen and your blood pressure lowered and your heart rate lowered and all that, they'll wake you up in 30, 40 years when we get a cure. You might look a little different with them skinny jeans on, but they're going to wake you right on up, player.
So this is real. So
This
they
is
can.
real. To be placed in a cryonic state is real. So if you just wanted to stop your life right now and say, you know what? And I don't know how much it costs, because the facility's right here in California too. One of the biggest ones, and they got the tanks with the little frozen ice, liquid ice, or whatever they got, hydrogen coming out, and there's literally human beings in there. I mean, you just got to be like a really high thinker, bold, or adventurous individual to come to the conclusion to where you want to be placed in a cryonic state. If I'm not mistaken, I think one dude was amputated or decapitated, should I say. And I think he wants to be woke back up later on. I don't know how that's going to happen, but that's just how it is.
That's very strange stuff, man.
This is close as I'm going to be put into a cryonic state, which is chronic.
Did you hear about Candace Owens having an assassination plot on her?
Yes, I did.
I thought she should have been getting all the stuff she been saying lately.
Well, here's the deal with that, Candace. And you can take this a play out of the Black Panthers book, and any other organization, the Nation of Islam, SLIC, SCLC, Martin Luther King, or any of the above people. When you are an activist in a community and you working under the Brown Panthers or the Black Panthers or some local union of some sort, regardless of race, creed, or color, or you with the Cesar Chavez group, as long as you feeding your people sandwiches, marching, minding your business, and staying in your lane, then the white establishment or the powers that be let you go on about your business. You know, we shall overcome, Black Lives Matter, gang truces, anything that stays within your jurisdiction, should I say. But when you get to tampering with the Vietnam's business, like King and them did, and Kennedy and all them, you kind of get a different death threat. When you get to messing with Charlie Kirk and all those people play by different sets of rules. And Candace, you know, like the Minister Farrakhan said to Cube that time, if you step in the middle of the street, expect to get hit by a truck, young man. So Candace, you know, welcome to our world. We live under the threat of death every day. So I'm not surprised. I wish the sister well because I don't want to see anyone hurt, regardless. I think as human beings, we can work our problems out. You know, the good book said, did I not make the earth spacious enough for you? Can't you get away from that person? So in some situations, we kind of put ourselves further in the mix, man. That's what I tell a lot of brothers that's in the gang activity. Like, break north, you know, and if you have to, act like you running on a murder or something. Or you running on a warrant, so you ain't gotta be around that foolishness. Cause if you're in the midst of it, homie, you know, no one's tax exempt and no one's bigger than that program.
Well, she's rolling with what she believes is the right thing to do.
Well, she got a white husband, she'll be all right. And she got a lot of cash. She's a really attractive and smart sister. But the only thing is, she's trying to fight a war that she's not built for. You got to be really ready to go down dealing with the United States and dealing with people in high places like that. And your little podcast is not going to work. And you up there on Israel and this and that. Just let Charlie Kirk rest in peace if that's what you want and go about your business. It's not worth your life because they're going to continue the same thing regardless. When you're long gone, Sister Candace, well, just come back home to black folks. We got some things you can do. Like you can write a good sentence. We can solicit some people for a couple of nonprofit dollars to get the kids off the streets, get the homeless off the streets, get some health care, housing for Madeira. But you got to stay close to black folks, man. I'm so glad I'm black. I don't care what kind of problems come with it, man. It could be a million problems, man. You could hate me forever. I'm so glad to be a black man in America.
Man. So Charlie Kirk thing is pretty deep, man. They're trying to give him a holiday. So that does seem like the FBI got him. When they give you a holiday, that goes to show you that that's a telltale sign.
It also goes to show you that if you don't get a holiday, that you wasn't with the FBI. So welcome to Malcolm X world. You know,
Yeah.
welcome to Kwame Toure's world. Welcome to
Mm,
Minister Farrakhan's world. You know what I mean? Welcome to James Baldwin's world. Cicely, what's her name? Harriet Tubman. Welcome to their world, man. You don't get validated by the oppressors. You get validated by God and the people. And if you're a real one, you don't need no validation.
yeah. Um, Yui Jabari, baby Yui got laid to rest. He had a beautiful service. Um, his is official. Big U was not at the service. What's your thoughts on?
Well, with baby Huey, the memories that I have of that young man are refreshing, they're everlasting. And the fact of the matter is that, remember this, brother, when I deal with situations like that, not that his is one that's so unique, because I've dealt with a lot of them, but I don't have an opinion. Like I tell you all the time, I can't sit and say what's the pros and cons of that. I know he was a nice young man and he always gave me the respect. I can only speak to my personal experience with people. And if it's not a good experience, I'm going to be limited on how much I speak on it because it's not necessary. I don't have a vacancy sign on my forehead like that. It don't,
So now, do we have any more supernatural?
you know, it's not so much that it's supernatural, but I found it ironic. 'Cause I've been looking in the sky a lot, man. Today I seen a bunch of blackbirds shooting across the sky, which is an indication of something phenomenal may happen in terms of the weather. But I think the most supernatural thing that could happen right now is the unification of human beings that think along the same lines. The unification of us as a people to make sure that we don't get caught up in another. I'm not going to get my EBT card or a crisis where we don't have housing for our folks. I'm going to continue to converse about this because these are the things that are essential. And when you talk about essential work and workers, these are the people that we have to acknowledge, man. The people that are really capable of doing something for others, but they don't. And then those who can't do for themselves, we have to fight for them without a judgment.
What's the current state of the hood right now of our community?
The current state of the hood, as we see it from LA to the land of Japan to Chicago, shout out to my boy in Detroit, my folks in Texas, um, North Carolina, Alabama, Illinois, Kansas, and Virginia to my loved ones out there. But the state of the hood across the globe, and my spiritual perception, is that you can bend us, but you can't break us. See, we like palm trees, man. You ever seen a palm tree? It be bending, but you can't break it. You might get
Yeah.
a few leaves full of, and that's got to be some category 5 winds that just knock the leaves off.
Mm.
So that's the state of the union with black people. We're very swift and flexible when it comes to dealing with these crises because they throw so many curveballs at us daily and so many obstacles to where we're built like armadillos, you know. We're built like turtles, man. Just bring it. I'm so proud to be black. I'm so thankful to be able to endure everything, speaking collectively, from anybody that's of a descent that fear God. I don't care what your color is, but I have to speak about my own people first. But I'm so thankful that these people show their true colors when they keep the masses of people in the position that they're in. Because I don't spend my day all day just worrying about their problems that they create. That's a strategic war tactic. Hey man, make them think about the gangs all day. Make them think about their rent, their light, their gas, or whatever it is. Keep them distracted while they go buy boat tail Rolls Royces and electric Ferraris. No, we got to do like Don King once told me. He said, Malik, he said, we can't stop till we get a chicken in every pot and a Ferrari in every garage. I laughed because in my mind I was saying chicken in every pot. That sounded like a Freeway Rick move, but I knew what he was talking about, a Foster Farm. But we did try it by the chicken in every pot Freeway Rick style, and we tried it by, keeping our family. In other words, he was talking about generational wealth. We have to get past worrying about the problem. We have to get to the point where we solve the problem and then move forward because they have strategic war tactics that they use. And it's like, keep them talking about this while we go to Monaco. I watched an Indian dude from India have a wedding And the cheapest gift he got was from a actor, which was I think some I'm not really good at actors, but the dude gave him a $350,000 Lamborghini, and I think Bill Gates and his wife gave him a private jet, or Zuckerberg gave him a private jet, and this dude's like, how you have a 7-month wedding and people in your country starving to death with deformed heads? How you do that? What level of oppression is that?
7-month wedding.
You know, they had a 7-month wedding. Kardashians was there. The Amazon man was there. Everybody was there but my black ass. I was like, why y'all ain't invite me?
I know you talking about too.
This dude had a 7-month wedding.
It was the son of the richest man in Mumbai. He has the $1 billion house. It's like a high rise. He turned a high
Okay,
rise
for
into a
what though? Then he's built like an Easter egg, like Humpty Dumpty.
yeah. Have you
His
seen his
girls.
house? His house is cold, but right in the middle of the ghetto too.
Okay, I've never seen a U-Haul truck behind a hearse. And it's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into the gates of heaven. So what are you gonna do with all them cars? No problem, I get it. But be fair about it, man. I'm not saying that you're not the keeper of the poor. That's not your job. Everybody has a right and the same 24 hours in a day like everybody else. I even heard Puffy say that. You got the same 24 hours as me. But come on, man. That's just my way of thinking. So people in the listening audience, some of the stuff that you guys hear me spew, I really mean it and feel it in my heart. And you don't have to adapt it. This does not reflect that of the sponsors, the producers of this show, or the listening audience. I just have a thing for trying to be me. That's it.
Do you do you feel it's getting worse, or do you feel like it's getting better? Do you think the younger generation and these younger OGs are are heading the right direction, or you think it's getting ugly?
Well, the forecast is always the same. Don't get it twisted. You know, suckers 0, real niggas 100. That's just the score across the board. But on the contrary, I'm not going to sit here and just assess the young dudes, the new generation's issues as if we didn't have the same challenges. And for me to say, is it getting worse? Is it getting better? That's an individual thing because obviously individualism is the order of the day in the world. No one's speaking collectively. I think I'm probably the only fool running around here trying to speak collectively. But for the most part, man, that's an individual choice. You got people that's successful, like Ozzy Osbourne, who's no longer with us. Them dudes had everything, but were they happy? Was their life getting better? So we can't just narrow our folks down to the ghetto or to the crisis of black people to see if things are getting better or worse. That's across the board. Individually, what are you doing? That's what's important. Because if I sit there and say, yeah, it's getting worse, the YN just tearing up, we did the same thing. Then I gotta look at them youngsters outside in their face. Oh, Malik, man, you be up there dogging us. No, man, you got to get a man a chance to grow. It takes 50 years to become a man.
Quran says 40.
I'm telling you 50 plus.
Mhm.
And I'm kicking 65 in the ass. And I'm telling you unequivocally, it take a long time to become a man. Women grow up a little faster because they have the responsibilities. They're the portals to life, of life. But a man whose job is to conquer, that's different. A woman's job is to covenant my man, my house, my car, my career, my children, my family. A man's job is my woman. I conquered him. I did this in business. I whooped his ass. I built his house. I knocked down a bear. We conquer shit. So a woman's job is the covenant. And to you youngsters out there that's got females, man, learn about your woman's biological functions. Because every 28 days, the earth rotate, pimp. So around that 23rd day, and if she ovulating, you really gonna have to pay attention. But around that 23rd day, start buying some roses and candy. Cause she gonna have them cramps, man. And then you're gonna get caught up in an emotional argument, not understanding why my woman tripping on me. Let me just lace you, young, says the older cat. Put your Converse over here. Let me time it for you. Beat her to the punch. Make a warm bath. Give her that girlfriend experience, man. Stop trying to be so, gorilla pimpish. You know what I mean? Be a little more smooth. Be the third button on Denzel's shirt. Be the second button on Clark Gable's shirt. Be smooth with it, man. But all that antagonistic stuff and all that, then when you got a baby, when your wife pregnant or your girlfriend pregnant when you young, especially, don't be so quick to move around outside. When they tell you stay in the house and you go out there with them ninjas and then get yourself in something. Sometimes listen to people, man, when your mama tell you, boy, don't go out there tonight. And you just go. Perfect example. You haven't watched that movie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre type thing?
Yeah.
And there's always a guy at the beginning of the hill in front of the hotel, the motel, Bates Motel. Don't go in there. You gonna die. That's Blood Mountain. Then you go anyhow. Well, I'm that crazy dude at the front of that motel, man. Don't go that route, youngster. Don't go to jail. Go get you a truck driver's license. You do not want to go do 8, 9, 10 years and then squabbling up. Just go get you a license. I seen a brother that was father the other day that was on my show, Peacemaker, LA Gang Wars. Shout out to him if he's watching. He said, Malik, man, my son was on your show, man. I used to be from Denver Lane and da-da-da-da, but I'm a grown man now. He said, but my son was on your show. He's from Gardena, but he's an underwater welder now. Them dudes make millions of dollars. You gotta lace these youngsters, man, because they the future, man. And then nowadays, the curriculum that they got, our kids can't read or write. When last time you seen a child with a pencil?
You don't. But they can scroll through that phone.
Because AI. I feel sorry for the people that's gonna be future nurses and doctors in the future. Because we got a education and got your ass whooped if you didn't learn something. Nowadays we got a bunch of functioning illiterates, but we can't point the finger because you don't blame the victim. You blame society. And then we fix it. And these youngsters, when the last time you seen a youngster with a book bag with something other than a pistol in it? Matter of fact, when the last time you seen some kids going to school? I'll wait. When the last time you been to a wedding? When the last time you been to a funeral?
This weekend.
When the last time you been to a bar mitzvah? It's ironic. This is just off personal observation. Sometimes when I roll past the forum, on one side of the forum you have the cemetery, like Kareem Court. That's the street. And then above, adjacent to that is the mortuary or the funeral parlor. That's what we call them back in the days. But you always see black people at the funeral parlor part. Then if you go down Prairie to Florence and make that right where they got that Catholic church at,
Mm-hmm.
to my Catholic people, they having weddings. Black people in Manchester dressed up with our kids playing in the cemetery to go see Big Pookie get buried, who was wanted on war crime for killing our people because he don't know no better. And they celebrating him. I mean, our kids dressed up, jumping on tombstones. They feel safe. But on the other side of Florence, when you see other people from other races, the Hispanic people in particular, because black and Hispanics catch the same hell with the gang violence and violence in general and poverty, should I say. But they're having weddings, man. So I've been to 3 weddings in 17 years or more. And one wedding I went to, the lady's gone. She's no longer here. And one of my other friends got married, and they're no longer together. Black folks need to get together and love one another, man. You may not have a big old car, diamond in the back, sunroof top.
Yeah. But
Let me ask you a question.
little by little.
What was the greatest thing that you can remember about Michael Jackson outside of the stuff that they put on the brother? What was he known for?
Being a child prodigy.
He was never known to be a child prodigy.
Yeah, he was.
Michael Jackson was a great performer, correct?
Performer.
Remember that one move when he had the hat and he was leaning forward with the shoes on? He was leaning forward like he was about to tilt over.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the moonwalk, and he did that. Then he stopped and he leaned forward with his hat. Did you know that somebody owns the patent to that? That wasn't a Michael Jackson move. That was a mechanical device
Oh yeah, the
that
shoes.
that was in the floor for the shoes. And he
Mm-hmm.
would do that moonwalk and slide into that device, and then the shoe would be positioned and made in such a way to where it looked like he was tilting at a 45-degree angle.
Mm-hmm. That was a smooth criminal.
Smooth criminal. But I was with a friend of mine, and I'm going to shout his name out, named Tyrone Love. I forget the name of the attorney. I should call him. But we had Michael Jackson, myself, and a guy named Alki David had something in common. We had a lawyer over in Century City, Century Plaza Drive, or something like that. And I was in there talking to the lawyer. He's no longer with us. He died in a dentist chair. But he told me unequivocally on the Holy Quran, he said, man, we lied on Michael Jackson because he represented one of the kids that said Michael Jackson touched him. And the man told us, and I have to say this while I'm still on the earth, and I'll call my friend Tyrone Love right now, see if we can get him to verify it. And this is unsolicited. And he told me, he said, man, we set Michael up and we did that, and he had to pay for the purpose of his reputation. And I felt that to be quite offensive and disrespectful. But for anybody that's out there listening, that's exactly what he told me. And I swear by every prayer I ever did in my life.
So he
Big,
represented Evan Chandler.
and he said, whatever that person's name, he said that Michael didn't do that. He represented him. Hey, Ronnie. Hey, what did that lawyer tell us about Michael Jackson at the time we was in his office? And why did he say he wasn't guilty? And do you swear by every prayer you ever did on that man said that? And what was his name? What was that lawyer's name again? Yeah, because he was Alki David's lawyer. That's when we was up there. Had that nice looking black lady in there working for him. But yeah, that she was too. She know all the secrets. That's what the people that's dealing with the Michael Jackson estate need to talk to her. She was his secretary, young sister, beautiful man, but she know all the secrets. That man told us unequivocally, because Gloria Allred tried to get me to go against against Alki David before. You remember that, Roni? And they tried to pay me to lie, and somebody kept calling my phone saying they was from Gloria Allred's office. You can read about it. You can Google it. All right, well, thanks, man. I'll call you back, man.
Nah, no, that's some explosive information because everybody knows that. And then the father, that father got caught speaking like on a phone call talking about,
What was that kid's name again?
Evan Chandler. And then his dad died, and then I think the kid died too.
Yeah, man. So, and Michael Jackson's mother through Molly Bell, straight out of Compton. Shout out to Molly Bell. Um, she she told me once before, she said, Malik, Barry Rothman, that's his name, attorney, Mr. Rothman.
Barry Rothman.
Barry Rothman, here he is, right here. This gentleman, right here.
Put
Let
his
me
face on there.
let me see if I can show his face. Barry Rothman pick.
And he told you
He told me
personally.
that. Told me that personally. Here you go, right here, Mr. Barry Rothman. He died in 2018. This gentleman right here. And I got pictures with me and him together.
Hold on, keep it right there. Keep it right there. Barry Rothman right there, guys. All right.
This man confessed to me before he died in a dentist's office, getting some dental work. And he told me unequivocally, like he was doing this on purpose to let me know that Michael Jackson didn't do that. So, and I put that on my own soul, not the dead homie, because I don't use the dead homies. I work with the
And
live homies.
and to add to that, one of the probably reasons that he even told you that, because by then I think the father had died, so his client, he didn't have no client privilege.
Right, and then Mr. Barry Rothman also it was like Usher, this is my confessions. Because the way he told me that, it was just out of nowhere. I'm like, why are you telling me? And he was serious. And I've never told anyone that, man. So that's the truth. And I'll take a lie detector test, whatever it takes, man. Because I like the Michael Jackson family. I think they're extraordinary people, man. They almost like the DeBarges, except they didn't get done as bad. But you can only imagine what they went through as people. Forget the lies about Joe Jackson. If it's true, if it's not, he a nigga from the hood. What you expect? They said Joe Jackson used to rob the concession stands for the bread after the concerts. So, Joe was a real nigga. You know what I'm saying? He'd do a concert. This is what I heard. He'd do a concert and shit, man. After that's over, Pookie and them and Ski Mask and them and Pooh Shiesty and them, they coming to get that bag.
Man, but it was just something. You could just look at Joe. He just looked like he wasn't a nigga to play with.
Shout out to my partners out there in Gary, Indiana, too, man. All my traveling buddies out there that live out there, they hang in front of Michael Jackson's old house, blowing weed and everything. Right now today, he probably gonna leave a comment. Because they from Gary, Indiana is a slick little town, man. And, we can't forget about them brothers and sisters in Wisconsin and Gary, Indiana and Alabama, Mississippi, New Orleans, and, them places, man.
New Orleans.
Owlins. I never been down there, man. And they got some fine black women.
You never been to New Orleans?
Never. But I'm going to say this, man. I think, and this is just on the female tip, because I watch a lot of news because I'm a news buff being I came out the industry. But I think that the finest place, the finest black women in the United States, I believe, is in Georgia, Atlanta.
Definitely.
My God.
Hands down.
My God. I see why Martin Luther King was out talking about we shall overcome. Boy, they got some super bad. You sisters out there in Atlanta ain't no joke. Y'all just got some goofies that don't really know what to do. Y'all lucky I ain't in that life, man, because I'd have about me and Snoop was in Atlanta once before. And we was just clowning, and no disrespect to Mr. Snoopy. And I was like, Snoop, look at all these sisters in here, bad. Blah, blah, blah. Was it in Atlanta? No, we was in Atlanta. He said, Malik, man, if I wasn't married, if I lived out here, man, I'd have about 25 kids, man. We laughed so hard on the stage because I was in the audience and he was performing. And that fool seen me and stopped mid-performance like, Malik, and put me in the back. I felt like a big shot. Back here with Mr. Snoop Double OG. Yeah. I remember we was at the court building and I've never seen this before. Tupac, MC Hammer, I believe Left Eye may have been there. I'm not certain. Uh, Daz, Corrupt, Half Dead, a few more came to support Snoop at his trial because during the murder trial, they had a special trailer downstairs for Snoop to smoke his weed because he would always come back to court late because we would be at Dad's house for the lunch break with his wife and all that, Kenya and whatnot. Daz's kids was little, Snoop's kids, I believe, was little too. And they pulled up, and when I tell you, the word must have gotten the court building that Tupac was downstairs in that court building, 210 Temple Street off of Broadway. There used to be a parking structure next to that court.
Okay.
And that building, it's probably been there 100 years, I don't know. But the windows are very seldom open. Like every, 50 years you see a window open in that court building, or all of them. When that Tupac Shakur came, and the word got out in that court building that that man was downstairs near that trailer, when I tell you every window, every female, judges, lawyers, police, just imagine at 210 Temple Street with all them balconies on that court. Every last one of them windows right there was filled with people looking down at Tupac like this. That's what I knew he was something different. I never seen that many females looking at a man before in my life. Then we did a press conference once before at the Brotherhood Crusade on Slauson. Tupac was there, Suge and all them. And these girls was walking by. Didn't have nothing to do with the press conference. Two little Shaquitas. Bless their little cute hearts. They braids in their hair must have been about this long. This was the whole braid, and it had a little thread on it. About that long. And they had it wrapped in a little bun. And they seen Tupac and lost their mind. Ah! They started screaming. We had to take the thing inside. So I'm sitting there with Pac, and we upstairs, and Pac said no pictures and whatnot. Let me tell you how compassionate Pac is. I'm sitting there involved as me, Mustafa, rest in peace, Mr. Fletcher, a bunch of us up there with Tupac and Sugar there. Danny Bakewell. And this photographer wanted to take a picture of Pac, and then I'm feeling a little ignorant that day. I'm like, dude, didn't dude tell you don't take no motherfucking pictures? And then I said, you don't want me to throw your ass out the window? Knowing I ain't gonna throw nobody out the window, but I was feeling myself. And that nigga Pac whispered to me, he said, Malik, I didn't even know this dude really knew my name. He said, how you advocating for peace? And you talking about throwing another black man out the window. And then he whispered something to Suge, like, and to this day I want to know, what did he say to him? I think he was saying, man, tell him, have dude come where we gonna be later. Or something. I don't know. I'm gonna ask you one day, what did he say to you, man? He probably said he gonna whoop my ass. I think that's what he was saying, like, bring him over here later. But Pac was respectful of older people, man, and he only used the word bitch when trying to make a statement. And by the way, kids, close your ears, but my mama was a devout Jesus follower after coming out that life. And I may have told you this, but she messed around and seen Tupac laying in that bathtub with all that gold on. Remember he was laying in the tub like this,
Yeah.
looked like he was naked. And my mama, who's a Bible thumper, God bless her soul, she rest in peace. She said just like this, I'll give Tupac some pussy.
Oh my God.
Pac, you lucky they killed your ass, because I was looking for you to kill you. My mama wanted to kill you. I was so mad at that nigga. Nigga, I was hating on that nigga. I said, wait a minute, so that means Pac would have been my daddy.
Was
She
he?
was serious, man.
We all like the same age, or you older than him?
I'm 60-something years old. Pac ain't nowhere near your old as me.
Oh, okay.
If I'm 65 now, Pac can't be no more than what now? 45?
Nah, he older than that.
Well, whatever it is, that nigga, I've been 50 since I was 4. I've been running away from home since I was 4. My mama caught me throwing my suitcase down the stairs, nigga, Jamaica, Queens.
Yeah, he'd be like 53 right now. I think.
Okay, well, trust me, my life experience is just like his, but a different version. If you ain't sat and watched your mama go to jail, or watch your, hear about stories of police officers doing certain, look, man, don't get me started with moms and her struggle.
Yeah, I already know.
Don't do that to me.
Now, how many interactions did you have with Pop?
Just that once when he pulled up to beat up on Biggie Smalls and them at the Soul Train Awards or something. And then he pulled up in a Humvee, and I was like, Pac, can I interview you today? Because I didn't want him to walk in there because Biggie and all his boys was there. And he said, not today, Malik. I don't know what color Hummer he had. I think it was black. If I'm not mistaken, he had a rag on it. He was by himself. Dude wasn't no buster, though, man. I remember one time, I believe Pac rolled up to the projects by himself a few times. I don't remember which one. I think it was the Grape Streets, I believe. Don't quote me on it. But he was that type of dude. But I seen him one time on Sunset, and a black ragtop Bentley coming from the Jaguar dealer that's at the bottom of Sunset where you used to have your office at. And he was riding down the street, and I thought I was gonna like spot him playing his music or something hot. And that dude was riding down the street playing some jazz. What was he playing? Willie, some Armstrong. He's playing some jazz with his head back like this, with his glasses, with the top down, just rolling down Sunset. I said, "Get him, son, pimp, son, pimp, son." He was smooth, right? That's right before he died. And I looked at him and I read it because I'm an energy reader. I'm not a energy vampire like most people are. And I read his energy, and he was like, "Man, I'm just here for a reason, and I can't wait to get the fuck up out of here so I can get back to where I come from."
Damn.
Like that's what I read from because I read body language. And I was watching, he had his little peanut head back like this with the fly little frames. They was kind of gold. And he had his head back. He had just got his first bag, I guess. 'Cause I remember he used to live over there near the Grove, I believe.
Okay.
Somewhere near the Grove he was living, if I'm not mistaken, off of
Fairfax.
no, closer towards La
La Brea.
Brea. Near like
Cursing.
yeah, like when you first come into the Grove, where that little luxury section is right there.
Okay. The Palazzo.
That's where I believe he lived. Don't quote me on
That's
it.
like Fuller.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, now I believe I forgot who I was talking to a rep. I think it might have been Big U. Big U told me, I guess because he was in jail when Pac was, doing this thing, but from what he heard from people that, yeah, man, he said somebody tried to rob him, and Pac wasn't playing. Pac pulled the thing out on him. You know what
Pac
I'm saying?
shot 2 police in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it because he was no braggadocious individual. He wasn't violent. Pac has lived it based on a UFO that he came here on. Pac wasn't from this planet or this how can I say it? He wasn't from this dimension. So the way he played by the rules, like I told you last time, you know what I'm saying? He just like one of your commenters said, and that was a very profound statement that one of your commenters made when he said Pac didn't promote thug life, he diagnosed it.
Hmm.
And when you diagnosing something, man, you got to go through a lot of different metamorphoses and some more shit just to get to where you going to get the prognosis.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, he was a he was a definitely a deep player.
He was here for a season. Pac was the culmination of all, like we're a culmination of everything on the earth: gold, metal, dust, water, oxygen. Pac was a culmination of all of our struggles and our strugglers and the people that fought for our struggles. The greatest thing, and I'm learning this, and hopefully this tape will play back years from today. I won't be in a cryonic state, but years from today, when they open up this time capsule of minuscule information, it'll show that being black is the greatest thing that could ever happen to a living species on the earth. Let me make it fair. Being a human being is the greatest thing that could happen on the earth. But being a black person, because I look at the blacks the way they dance, you know, they got a new challenge on the internet now. Not a challenge, but a conversation. And you see a lot of people of European descent saying, we miss black people. Look it up. Because we come with a certain vibration. You know, our hair is electric, our skin is electric, our movement is electric, and we can withstand anything, man. And I love when they call themselves oppressing me because it makes me sharper.
You,
You know, my philosophy is pressure makes the best diamond.
hey man, the biggest I've been doing a lot of research the last 10 years, I would say last 15 years, and it's mind-boggling the information that I'm seeing and what it's seeming to look like. The biggest lie told to black people in America is that
That
you
they're
were
African American. That's the
that you're
first lie.
that's the biggest lie,
That's the biggest lie.
that you were brought from somewhere else, and the reason that you're here is because you were brought here through the slave trade.
Well,
and a few came from slave trade, but we were more prisoners of war and enslaved rather than a part of that part of slavery.
first of all, if we came here on these slave ships, where are the artifacts of these ships?
there is none.
Okay. And if black people didn't start in Africa, everything started with the Aborigines,
Hmm?
which is located in Australia. The first Europeans weren't white. Sorry to tell you that. So for anyone to think that you came over and you did this, that, and the other without any resistance, that's bull. Okay. It's like, for example, what is that one conversation they're having now that Mike Epps made about but he made a controversial statement the other day saying that anybody that did 30 years or something like that. Well, regardless of what he said, here's my defense for Mike Epps. First of all, once before, my ex-girlfriend and I, Miss Toy, my ride or die partner, we was short on some bread, and Mike Epps seen us and gave us like 400, 500, 600. And then I seen him one day. I told him about it. He didn't even remember. But at least Mike Epps put his money where his mouth is at. He bought back the neighborhood he grew up in. Every time you see him, he's in the neighborhood by himself. So Mike Epps is a dude that has a license to operate in these communities. And he can say what he wants. People have to be able to accept that there's 6 billion people on the earth and no one's going to think just like you. Not even your twin.
Period.
It's mathematically, emphatically impossible.
And to me, that's the true meaning of rich in a certain level in this world. When you can do that, when you can be famous like that, and still roll to every community and just get love.
You know who got love like that?
Who?
Dr. Sabi. That was my partner. His birthday should be coming up soon. Happy birthday, Dr. Sabi. But I used to be with Dr. Sabi every day off of La Cienega Place. And Dr. Sabi told me that the pharmaceutical people was going to kill him. That's the first thing. I'll swear by that. I used to be upstairs with him in his little office, and his wife at the time, I think her name was Methune or something like that. And they be down there cooking up that medicine. And it had a very distinctive odor because it was all natural, like a pungent smell. Is that the word they use in the world of academia, pungent? But Dr. Sabi told me how he got involved with the herb thing. I believe he said he was on a ship or something like that. Don't quote me on it because I don't remember. But he was a sage like me, and
Okay.
he knew that the pharmaceutical people was going to kill him. I remember once I was in his office, and he was like, "Malik, man, don't leave." He said, "Malik, don't leave." I said, "Why, man? I'm about to go make a move." I used to go up there and smoke that weed when we roll them joints. And Dr. Sabi told me, he said, "Man, left eye is coming." I said, "Left eye?" He said, "Yeah, left eye, she walking over here." I said, "The girl from TLC?" He's like, "Yeah, she walking over here. She's on some 40 days and 40 night fast," because she was heavy with Dr. Sabi. I remember she was on death row too, I believe.
Yeah. Well,
And a lot of people don't know she was on death row.
everybody knew.
Not everyone. I mean, come on, my son don't know. He's only
I mean, at the time.
20 something. But anyhow, she's one of them really controversial thumbnail podcaster interviewers. Are you interviewing me or are you interviewing yourself? Because you're going to tell me, everybody knew it. I'm just telling you the story, then you come back and rebut with a rebuttal like everyone. Not everyone did know that. But on the contrary, Mr. I interviewed my damn self. Next on The Narcissist. Uh,
God
you made me
damn,
lose.
I'm a
You,
narcissist.
you a true narcissist. You're literally educating me and asking questions at the same time. You're a natural phenomenal. Natural, man. And you have the ability to telepathically make someone forget their chain of thought. So that's interesting. They should call you the eraser.
Damn.
In other words, shut the fuck up. Let me tell you the story. How about that?
Yes. Please.
You little curious motherfuckers. Let me tell you the story. So he was like, "Man, stick around, man. She's walking." So I left. And I'm going down La Cienega and I see this really attractive looking sister walking southbound on La Cienega. And I called Dr. Sabi. I was like, "Dude, do such and such look like this? Because I never seen her in real life. And it was Left Eye walking from La Cienega, wherever she lived, to Dr. Sabi's office. She was, it must have been about I say from, looked like I seen her at Wilshire and La Cienega or something like that, or a little further back towards Hollywood. And Dr. Sabi's like, yo, man, Malik, you need to stick around. Or she's single or something. And I was like, didn't she burn up somebody's house? And we giggled. But Dr. Sabi had young children, dude, at an elderly age. I mean, like newborns. He used to get in his office and like, Malik, he would get and just drop down on his knees, hard as he could. Boom! And get right back up. And he made a medicine called Viento, which I believe it stands for the wind or something in Spanish. And that's the best product I think he ever made, along with the women's products that he have that cleanse out their personal parts. But that Viento for the blood, you can't beat it, man. Dr. Sabi had one lady that came in an arthritic bed once from being stricken with arthritis. And I don't know what he put on her, some salve or something. And months later, she came back in there walking and had a baby. But they rolled her in on a stretcher. She couldn't stand up, couldn't do nothing. She was just on a stretcher from arthritic pain. And I don't know what doctor said. I think he called it salve, something that he kept rubbing on her body. And about a year later, she came in there, dude, with a newborn child. So he was a healer, a real one.
Yeah,
And they starved him to death in jail. That's what they did do. That's how he passed away, I believe. They probably starved him to death. Dr. Sabi was generous. I was sitting in his office one day, and I believe it was Eddie Murphy's father. He had helped, and Eddie Murphy had sent him a Range Rover, brand new.
Eddie Murphy gave him a Range Rover?
Yep. And then I was there one day, and Rerun. Remember Rerun off that show?
Yeah, Fred Berry.
Yeah. He had cured him of diabetes or something. So it was a lot, and it was rumored that he cured Magic Johnson, but I don't know that to be the truth. So please don't barbecue me with that. I'm just trying to cook. I'm just trying to cook right now. But for the most part, I can remember the day that Eddie Murphy and the people delivered that Range Rover. He was very happy, man.
Baby. You ever kicked it with Magic Johnson?
From a distance, Magic Johnson is like Magic Johnson. I always try to kick it with him just to see what we can do for black people. It's not too many people that I haven't ran up on and say, man, what about the poor? Not too many. Name one.
Yeah.
If I run into you, I'm gonna tell you about stopping the killing of our people and the poor. Other than that, I don't need you. I'm good.
But you seen Magic from a distance, huh?
Oh yeah. He asked me to take a picture once of somebody he was doing a picture with, and I didn't know how to work his camera, and I took some really bad pictures. And he was like, "Give me more camera," type thing.
How about Shaq?
Shaq is cool, man. Shaq, I was with Shaq when he did the movie Kazam. I believe Shaq and I are related because his cousin name is Malik Andre Spellman, and my name is Malik Spellman. But Shaq is super cool, man. I was with him when he did the movie Shazam. I interviewed him for that movie. Remember that movie he was in?
Yeah.
That was his first feature. You could pull that up actually on that place where I tell you they keep all my films.
Yeah.
So when you tell this podcast, you can pull it up with me interviewing him. Shaq is Shaq is the type of person that he's a balanced individual. Like he doesn't have a perception of rich or poor or this class or that class or you're this person, that person. Shaq just keep moving. He's truly a gentle giant. He probably in his last life was 10 feet tall. They had some slaves back in the days that was 10 feet tall. They allegedly had one that broke the back of
Oh,
three
Shaq.
three oppressors. No,
Shaq. He's a very humble guy, but one time he bossed up and let people know like I own Marilyn Monroe. I own Forever 21. I own. He just start naming all the brands and stuff that he owns, and it was like, fuck.
the worst thing I hate about what happened with Shaq is all the lies that people tell. Every time he get involved with a community, then they tell a lie or stay on that man's business. That man got his money. He ain't funny style. He ain't he's not out here giving away all his bread, so don't expect that. He just Shaq. I can't, I don't have, it's not, I don't have a right to judge because people looking at me like, Malik, you smoke weed. So, Shaq buy cars, he buy homes, he play basketball. What you want me to do? Should we talk to the forum? They said they seeing the ghost of Kobe over there. Look that up. They said the janitor in there, the security team, come into the forum to do their daily check, and the light be on, and they say they can hear somebody there shooting free throws, and it's documented with the Lakers organization. So the ghost of Kobe is here, and Shaq is here. It's just that simple, man. I live in a reality-based world. I like talking to your viewers and normal people on the streets, just commonwealth. And my main objective is to see when I can go outside and help somebody. That's the greatest feeling in the world. That's why I don't see how millionaires and billionaires got all that bread and they could just sit home every day and don't get out and go hand out some $1 bills. I would get a kick out of being a Pied Piper for a day. Just pulling up to the gas stations and helping kids put ice cream trucks in front of schools and, put heaters outside like they got in the NFL for the athletes, put some outside for the poor. I would get a kick out of that, man. How can you wake up, and I'm not gonna mention no particular names, but how can, especially the ones from the hood, how can you wake up every day and don't go outside and give your money to somebody? You gotta always give it to Children's Hospital. That's a great thing. But what about your own folks? Don't you get a kick out of it? It would make my Johnson hard to be able to go outside and help people. You know what the word gift means? Gift is a German word. And in German, if you translate the word gift to German from English, it means poison. So you got to watch when somebody gives you a gift. Then you have to watch what you own. Like this one white man told me at Cedar Sinai when I was going there for my daughter's first son being born. Dude, like I tell you, he looked like Joe Biden. He said, young man, be careful what you own and be careful who owns you.
Mm.
All money ain't good money. I got to send a, excuse me for a second, but one of my real brothers that I love, and I can't think of his name, but I seen him at the Taste of Soul. And he made claims that I was an inspiration to him, which I believe the people is an inspiration to me, but he gave me this hat, and I must put it on to show it to you. And I thought it was quite unique, and I couldn't really tell you the name on it, but I'm quite sure if he see it. But I told him that I would wear it. Yeah. So it's kind of fly, huh?
Mhm.
I can put my lighter up there.
It's like a table.
I can put my phone over here.
You got the whole leaf on that thing too.
So this is a unique hat. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate this, man. You brought tears in my eyes because very seldom do people give me anything other than respect, and I really appreciate you giving me this unique hat. I'm gonna buy me some gator boots to wear with it one day.
So, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I want to send a memorable dedication to my boy from Mansfield, Looney. Looney and I, along with my boy G Ride, Stan, whose son is in the NFL. I believe his last name is Walker. We broke in Corcoran prison together. We were like the first inmates, and that's the worst time to be in a prison. Corcoran's a very dangerous institution. But when it's dangerous because when the yard is new, the prison is not even built. So you may not have electricity, grass, water. It's just they just throw you in there. and you have to fight for who's going to be the king of the yard or what sections that's going to be ran by different races. And when myself, along with my boy G Ride, who's from Playboy Gangsters, shout out to the Playboys. Uh, yes, yes. So when I was doing the cut that, let me take that from the top.
Uh, all right. Good.
Yeah, I want to send a shout out and a true dedication to my boy Looney, rest in peace, from Mansfield. I love that little brother, man. Him, along with myself and a brother named G Ride, Stan Walker. We was in Corcoran when it first opened. And consequently, when the yard first opened, people are scrambling for what positions they're going to play, where different races are going to position themselves on the yard. And it's pretty much like a squabble on the yard between different races initially. It'd be knife play involved and some more shit. But G Ride and them, man, was some real brothers that really made me understand what Crip life is like in particular, because these dudes came from good families. And I can remember the night that Looney, rest in peace, was murdered by the little youngster. And I had a boxer back then, a dog. And I stayed on Pico and Redondo. And my dog howled in such a way that I'd never heard him howl like that before. And the way he howled, he was telling me, like, one of your friends is getting hurt. Because I love Lil Looney. Like, that was my boy, man. I love Lil Looney, man. I bought him in the intervention game. You know what I'm saying? So I had a different situation with him. But anyhow, I believe he was the youngest dude that was that was in Pelican Bay, too. But when he first came to Corcoran, G Ride and all of us sitting there, and Looney was so, so isolated in Pelican Bay, because Pelican Bay, you lock down most of the time, 23 hours a day sometimes, I believe, if not more. And he wasn't used to being around people eating with forks and stuff at the table, forks or whatever they give you in prison. And I felt that kind of strange because I had never experienced that, to where, you so used to violence to where you see a dude with a metal or fork or something, you're like, man, you're not used to that coming from Pelican Bay. You're not used to open yards and
Yeah.
people running around. And them dudes just not used to that after being in isolation. They just don't get, dudes that come at them real joints where it's really going down, where they cooking at, there are a lot of moves they don't play. You can't run around prison using the N-word. Like I see a lot of my brown brothers that's real vatos, man, the ones I grew up with off that east side. And they be telling the youngsters, like, don't use the N-word, right? And they be checking them. I give them credit for that. They're like, no, 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 no. Because in the pen, the N-word, either you're going to do some push-ups or you might get pushed up on. You can't run around. It's like running around with them shower shoes on like the ones you got on outside. You can't do that. You'll get checked. So a lot of them dudes come in there and
Why you gotta talk about my shoes, man?
I'm just calling like I seen. They look like some Jamaican Clarks or something, but you like some 3D printers, And you got the footsies on with them with the ankle game. One day I'm gonna show y'all a video of this dude right here, man. Y'all gonna love him. He's a beautiful brother, man, but he's a curious ass youngster. I don't know how the universe put us together. It's damn near like Sanford and Son. But my boy Stan, man, he got out, you know, I call him G Ride. Got a beautiful family. You know what I mean? His son is in the NFL, I believe, in the NFL or going to the NFL or something like that. But these dudes changed their life, man. And these niggas was real crippin'. Ain't no playing with it. And no, I'm not here to validate nobody's activity amongst black people because I don't condone violence. But you can only deal with the hand that you're dealt. And that's what they did. And so I want to send a shout out to my boy G Ride and his family, man. I'm proud of that dude, man. Look at Big U, his son in the NFL. Then my other boy off the east side, Bo, his son in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? These dudes come out the streets, man. But they kids made it. So that's just how they go, man. You got to pay attention to that type of stuff. Sometimes it skip a generation or two, but it'll get to you.
God willing.
I'm looking at my boy's son. He in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Let me show y'all. This is my boy from Ozone, Bo's son. He in the NFL now.
Put it down a little
Kenny
bit.
Fly's nephew off that east side.
Uh,
Come on, man. These are dudes that have real challenges in life, man. These them real niggas that came out them eras, man.
all right, we're good.
You know, these are dudes on that east side. I got like 3 or 4 friends, man, whose sons and children that went up to the NFL. Interesting. That's why when I first interviewed Venus and Serena Williams, and they had little bitty short hair then, they was little. You can pull the video too if you want. And I'll never forget their father said, Malik, he was talking to them. He said, Malik, and he was telling Venus and Serena, you know, you got to get your education now, because if you don't, you got 50 years to live as a fool. I thought that was quite prolific.
Yeah. Get your education now. 50 years as a fool.
So let me say this before I go. This is a public service announcement to anybody that's between the age of 13 to 30. And I'll say 35 just to be on the comfortable side. Check this out. This Uncle Malik. Listen to me closely, and I'm serious. Get you an education, even if it's a trade, plumbing, truck driver, anything that you can do. If you got to do 8 years in college, it's better than doing 8 years in prison. Don't get hooked on them drugs. This ain't no feel-good old nigga trying to tell us how to live our life YOLO. No, sir. This is not an indictment. This is an enlightenment. And I mean this from my heart. Don't let these white folks trick you. Don't let them keep you in poverty. Stop sometime when you with your folks and just step back like I used to do and just get in the corner and just watch people and just watch who's the loudest and just assess them based on what you see right there. This one's going to be successful. She going to be pregnant with no baby daddy. This one's going to be a loser. That nigga going to jail. He going to get murdered. I'm going to get fucked off. Include yourself in that too like I do. But on some real shit, every day that I get old, you get old. And time slips away fast. Because time keep on slipping into the future. Get your ass somewhere and sit down. Because that penitentiary, whoosh, I only been once in 40 years. And I pray to Allah that I never had to go back. But don't let them people trick you. Don't get all them tattoos on your face where you can't work for no law firms no more. When you get older, and you don't make a bunch of enemies you can't keep up with. Stop right now. If you know you effing up, just stop. Because everywhere you go, you take yourself with you. Take this from an old dude that done made every mistake you can think of. The book you read and I wrote. When your mama tell you what to do, you better listen. And to you mothers, y'all really better pay attention to what's going on in your kids' classroom or their behavior. And if you have a problem, just call me and I'll do my best to help you for free. But young people, please, man, they're not playing with y'all. You don't want to get stuck. You don't want to be broke. You don't want to be not able to take care of your children. You don't want to be in the penitentiaries all day. Because once again, the only person that stood up for you is the Statue of Liberty, and that's not a person. And she cracking up. The homies ain't gonna stay down with you. Your mama gonna stay down long as she can. Your girlfriend is gone the day you get sentenced because she gonna be crying, and then it's gonna be a fool with a cape on gonna bring her over there and save her. Don't stop now, man. Don't take so many drugs now to where later on you have all these health issues. Just stop back. You know everything, so act like it. This Uncle Malik, I love y'all, man. For real, man. Go be rich. Like Nipsey said, go make $1 million while you're young. But stop now. If you know you're going in the wrong direction. If you was going up the freeway the wrong way, would you keep going or would you stop? I'm gonna leave it at that.
All right. We're back for a little bit of ask you one more question, ask you one more situation. Let's talk about Ron Brown, ex-Secretary of Commerce.
You mean the great late Ron Brown, who was at the playground with Keita Rock and Bill Clinton playing basketball?
That had that jumper.
Had that jumper and the white shirt.
Yeah.
God bless the great Ron Brown, man. You know what's interesting about Ron Brown is that they had a town hall meeting in LA once um, for Channel 9, a local news station here with Pat Harden. And they had all the people come out, Ron Brown, Richard Reardon, all the heavyweights, the heavy hitters. Uh, I believe Maxine Waters was there, a few other people, but you can pull the tape up just to see it for verification. But anyhow, I made a statement at that particular meeting to the degree of that our children in the ghetto was in the something something percentile for education or something like that, which I probably pronounced the word wrong at that time because I was a tad bit nervous. But for the most part, Ron Brown, surprisingly so, showed up at Kendrick Kendron Daycare, I believe on 109th and Avalon, Kedrick or something like this, a facility in which they helped the community, and it was ran by some black people who were instrumental in making sure that kids had daycare, and they had a lot of community meetings there and things of that nature. A lady named Miss Kitty was running it. So we in there one day, Tony Bogard, myself, Tony Bogard, his friends, Ty Stick, I believe, was there. Rest in peace from the Nixon Garden. Shout out to you, Blood. I feel you. I always love you, homie. He was part of the truce with us. He died in jail, man. And last time I talked to Ty Stick, just to digress a little bit, uh, he was in jail fighting for brothers in prison for some sort of injustice that they was receiving. So shout out to my boy Ty Stick, man, from the Nixon Gardens. You know, that was my dog, and shout out to his kids and his family, man. You know, we lost that brother untimely, but a lot of the people in the world don't know. There's a lot of unsung heroes out here that participated in the gang truce and stuff like that that people don't know nothing about, and a lot of Jewish people as well, and professionals. But for the most part, Ron's, unbeknownst to me, came to 109th and Avalon. It's called Kedron. And he had all the people that he had, like the owners of Kaufman and Broad. He had they were all Republicans, I assume, or from some political position. He had the owner of the dairy company, the former mayor Richard Reardon with him, which we took a picture together, and they put it on the cover of the New York Times. And I pulled his hat on his head. He had a baseball cap on, and I turned it sideways, giving it a little hood effect. But they showed up with sincere help. The help was like, "What do y'all need, Malik? What do you want? What do y'all want?" And it didn't work out too well. They got ran off by an opposing force for whatever political reason it was. But Ron did that on his own. He never talked to me or anything. He just popped up with all the people with all the solutions to our problems in a 16-passenger van. So I say that to say this is that I find it ironic that the majority of our people that are really influential always seem to die from a freak accident. You know, they say Ron Brown had two bullets in his head, and when they found him up against the mountain,
Yes, sir.
they gave him the same package that they gave our beloved ancestor Kobe Bryant. Pushed him up against a mountain in a helicopter or a plane or something. And if you do your research, even I believe it was Cardi B, they had her in a plane, scared her to death before, like it was about to crash or something like that, or there was a technical mishap on the plane. So to you celebrities, because I'm an airplane enthusiast, and my son and I used to fly when we was kids. I had him in a private school. It's not private; it's open to the public, but it's called Celebrity Helicopters in Compton, in which they teach children how to fly planes and do maintenance on them, and they break world records because kids be like 15 traveling alone on a plane. You know, shout out to the brother. By the way, the brother that runs that program, his name is Mr. Seagraves, I believe. But he flies Magic Johnson around, I believe, the city in his helicopter. Because you know, when you're on that level like that, you can't just drive in a car. So then people go from building to building, oftentimes in helicopters, these hot shots.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was aspiring to really fly and teach my son to fly, I used to say, why do people that buy aircraft, especially black people, buy these old ass planes? If you do the research on Kobe's plane that he was in, I believe it was owned by a couple of governors or politicians at one time,
The
like the governor of
helicopter?
Colorado or something like that.
The helicopter?
The helicopter. It was owned by the governor of Colorado before it
It's a
owned by.
Kursurski or something.
I have no idea, but those planes, man, my ex-girlfriend told me about her pilot that she had for her plane, Jamie. And he should tell her, about people buying old planes and not knowing. So if you out there and you balling and you young, man, be careful when you be jumping on the jets because the maintenance records on it be horrible. And it looks good from the outside. And it may not turn out well. So just think about all the people
I
that
got a
they've knocked down.
I got a friend who does that actually.
Okay. And also they had another situation in which um, it's just ironic, man, how these people are just falling out of these planes and having these freak accidents, man. It sounds like somebody's collecting in on the insurance because you're probably worth more dead than alive, especially if you're dealing with Hollywood.
Now we was talking about Ron Brown. I was kind of young, but and I haven't really dived into the rabbit hole too deep. But they do say that he got murdered. Do you, looking back and recollecting and thinking about the times you heard about Ron Brown, do you have an idea of why they would probably want to take him out?
Yeah, I know exactly why they want to take him out.
Why?
Uh, because Ron had a plan along with his other sister to get money for black people. And uh, that right there within its own right, man, is damn near like revealing the secrets about life on another planet. So he had an agenda. If you check out what he was doing before they killed him, then you could see, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. This is kind of diabolical. It's almost like the Candace Owens package they trying to offer her.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
Yeah, but just keep in mind, man, that when you see stuff like that happen, you know, it it's always more to the story than meets the eye. Because in news business, they have a philosophy that says if it bleeds, it leads. That's it. You ever notice when the news come on, there's always the weather girl with her little cute self with the short dress on. That's to wake you up and get your attention. Then right after that is murder, 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 or something that's bleeding. They call it if it bleeds, it's the lead story.
Oh wow. If it bleeds, it leads.
That's the lead story. Every watch the news tomorrow morning, they're gonna show you that weather girl. Then right after that, they going straight to who killed who or who got killed. They're gonna spend 2 hours on a cat story, 39 seconds on a poor person dying in the ghetto based on gang violence, and they're going to give you the news based on their individual perspectives and not on the facts. It's going to be very biased depending on what the reporter's feeling that day, what he's told to do. Because nothing goes across the news desk without it being approved by the FCC. I don't care. That's a federal agency, and they're all on the premises of the news lots. There's always, during post war, who work in the news business? People that are high ranking CIA and FBI and stuff like that. That's where they work at, in the newsroom. So when you see the queen of the crown, this one getting crowned in England and this one getting this or that and the other, that's because there's high levels to them societies. So when you see somebody getting crowned, let me show you what I'm talking about. When you see somebody and they over in England or wherever they may be and they see a celebrity getting hit with this and then getting hit with that and then popped upside the head, that's for a reason. A lot of them are probably agent provocateurs.
That's the marathon sword.
Yeah. I got this from Cowboy, and he got it from one of our beloved people, and it's got red and blue on there. And some of your viewers been asking about it. It's definitely for sale. I'm just kidding. But the Cowboy gave me this, man. And I believe he got it from Brother Nick, but it's a real marathon sword, and I think it's one of one or maybe three. So we can go to the highest bidder. If you're a Nipsey fan, let me know. Got you.